Imagine this. A 10-year-old boy, in worn-out sneakers and a faded hoodie, walks straight into the most exclusive bank in Chicago. And the entire room of millionaires starts laughing at him. But 30 minutes later, those same millionaires are silent, pale, and one of them is almost crying. What you're about to hear actually happened, and it will make you believe in courage again. Stay until the end, because the twist will leave you speechless. Noah Carter was only 10 years old. But that evening, he walked into the most exclusive financial tower in Chicago. As if he carried an entire universe inside his small hands. The marble floors shone beneath the towering glass ceiling. And a warm golden light glowed over suits worth more than his mom earned in a month. Conversations halted the moment he stepped into the VIP wing of North State Financial Tower. A place designed for billionaires, power brokers, and people who ruled the city from behind glass walls. And then came his voice, calm, steady, impossible to ignore. I just want to check my balance. The room fell silent so fast it felt like someone had cut the oxygen. A 10-year-old boy in thrift store sneakers and a faded blue hoodie, standing at a counter polished to perfection. The adults exchanged looks, an amused smirk here, a mocking laugh there. Like they had just witnessed a punchline forming on its own. Noah repeated, louder this time, his chin tilted up. Sir, please. I need to check my balance. I brought my ID and password. A ripple traveled through the room. Whispers, muffled laughs. Someone's champagne glass clinking against crystal as they turned to watch the show. People always turn to watch when they sense weakness. Except Noah didn't waver. Behind the counter, the VIP manager, Mr. Whitaker, froze mid-smile. He stared down at the boy, bewildered, then irritated. Kid, what balance? Which account? The savings account my grandfather opened when I was born, Noah answered, sliding forward a transparent folder. He passed away last week. My mom said the account is under my name now. The word passed didn't silence the room, but it pierced it. The laughter softened, but the arrogance remained thick like perfume. The manager folded his arms, smirking. This floor is for high-profile investors, not piggy banks filled with spare change. Children like you handle your accounts downstairs. Noah inhaled slowly, a deep grown-up breath that didn't belong to a child. My grandfather told me to come here, to this exact floor. And I promised him I would. Someone behind Noah chuckled cruelly. A man in a sleek gray suit whispered to his elegant wife. Probably son of a cleaner. Found a loophole and thinks he's important. More laughter. But Noah didn't flinch. He placed the folder on the counter like it was something sacred. Inside were documents, the account number, a birth certificate, a legal authorization, and a small handwritten note from the only person who never laughed at him, Robert Carter, his grandfather. For a moment, something flickered in the manager's eyes. Annoyance, maybe curiosity, maybe both. Fine, Mr. Whitaker sighed. Let's see what we've got. Probably a kid's bonus account. He typed lazily, fully expecting numbers so tiny he could laugh about them later during cocktail hour. But then he froze. His fingers hovered above the keys. His face went pale. He tried typing again, once, twice, 3 times. His hand began shaking. Behind Noah, the laughter died instantly. Someone whispered, What's happening? Another muttered, Is something wrong with the system? Mr. Whitaker swallowed hard. Kid, who exactly was your grandfather? Noah lifted his eyes, steady and unafraid. The only person who never laughed at me. The manager's chair screeched backward as he shot to his feet. I need to confirm something. Please wait here. He rushed into a side room, pulling another employee with him. His tone urgent, shaken, nothing like the arrogance he displayed minutes earlier. Noah stood still, his hand resting over the folder. His eyes glistened, not from fear, but from memory. I'm doing what you asked, Grandpa, he whispered softly. Don't let me do this alone. This time, people heard. A woman approached him hesitantly. Sweetheart, why did you come alone? Does your mother know you're here? Noah shook his head. She doesn't know, but Grandpa said I had to come the moment he was gone. The room exhaled, almost ashamed. He wasn't a boy trying to show off. He was a boy keeping a promise. Minutes passed, heavy, quiet, expectant. Then the manager and the senior superintendent, Mr. Harrison, reappeared. Their expressions had transformed completely. No smugness, no superiority, only disbelief. Son, Mr. Harrison said quietly, we need to speak with you privately. Whispers erupted. A kid in a private room. What did the system show? What on earth is in that account? Noah simply nodded. Okay. But before stepping forward, he asked, can my mom come in with me? The room softened almost collectively. Mr. Whitaker shook his head gently. Where is she, son? She's working. She couldn't come. And for the first time, a sincere human expression crossed the manager's face. Then we'll stand with you until she can. Noah's lips trembled, not from fear, but from exhaustion. From the weight of a promise a child shouldn't have had to carry alone. He nodded again. I'm ready. The glass door closed behind them. Inside, the world Noah knew was about to split open. And nobody, not even Noah, had any idea how explosive the truth really was. If you were in his place, just 10 years old, would you have been brave enough to walk into that room alone? Inside the private room, the air felt heavier than the marble halls outside. It wasn't the size of the room that made it suffocating, nor the dim lamp glowing over the wooden table. It was the tension, the weight of something unspoken, something enormous. Noah slid into the chair Mr. Harrison pulled out for him. His feet didn't touch the ground. His hands shook slightly as he placed the transparent folder on the table. Mr. Whitaker and Mr. Harrison exchanged a glance that Noah couldn't understand but felt. A glance that meant whatever they had seen on their screens was far beyond ordinary. Far beyond safe. Mr. Harrison spoke softly. Noah, before we open your documents again, I need you to know you're completely safe here. Safe? The word echoed in Noah's chest like an unfamiliar note. Safe from what, or from whom? The superintendent gently opened the folder. He found 3 items: an official letter folded into thirds, a handwritten envelope, and a small golden key that glimmered under the lamplight. Is this key yours? He asked. It belonged to my grandpa, Noah whispered. He said it would matter someday. And that day is today, Mr. Harrison replied. As he unfolded the official letter, the door clicked. A new figure stepped inside, a woman in a charcoal gray coat, thin glasses, and a black briefcase. She looked like she walked through emergencies as calmly as through revolving doors. M. Graves, Mr. Harrison said with a sigh of relief. Thank God you're here. The woman nodded and approached the table. Noah, my name is Linda Graves. I was your grandfather's attorney. Noah blinked. Grandpa had an attorney? Your grandfather had a lot more than that, she answered quietly. She placed the briefcase on the table and opened it with practiced precision. Inside was a thick envelope sealed with a wax stamp. She slid it toward Noah. This envelope was only to be opened the first time you requested access to your account, she explained. Your grandfather knew this moment would come. He prepared everything. Prepared everything. That phrase made something shift inside Noah, like a door unlocking. Miss Graves sat. Before I read this to you, there's something important you need to understand. Your grandfather did not leave money by accident. He left instructions, warnings, and a choice. A choice? Noah repeated. Multiple choices, actually. Mr. Whitaker swallowed. Miss Graves exhaled softly. But first, Noah, I need to ask, do you want to continue without a parent present? The silence was sharp as glass. Noah took a breath. I came here because I promised Grandpa. I don't want to stop. Linda nodded. Then we respect your decision. She broke the wax seal and opened the letter. The room held its breath. My beloved grandson, she began reading aloud. If you are hearing these words, it is because you have stepped into a world I never wanted you to face alone. Noah leaned closer. All your life I protected you from shadows you never saw. Your father once tried to face them and paid a price. He didn't disappear because he was weak or because he abandoned you. He vanished because he was hunted. Noah froze. The air thinned. His father wasn't just gone. He was forced away. Your father survived because he ran. I survived because I hid what I had. And you, Noah, you were meant to be shielded from all of it until you were old enough to carry the truth. Miss Graves paused. Noah stared at his shoes, his eyes stinging. Now you are here, and it is time you know what is yours. Not money, not property, but a legacy. She cleared her throat and continued. You have 3 options, Noah. The path is yours alone. Noah's hands curled into fists on his lap. Option 1, she read. You may take full control of the fortune immediately. But doing so will place you in the spotlight, in danger. People will come knocking, some smiling, some threatening. You will be rich, but you will never again be normal. Mr. Whitaker looked away, uncomfortable. Option 2, she continued. You may choose to have the wealth hidden, invested, and locked until your 21st birthday. You will remain protected, supervised, prepared. The world will not know what you possess. You will be allowed to grow. Noah lifted his chin slightly at that. And option 3, she said softer now. You may reject the inheritance entirely. Walk away from all of this. Keep your life simple, free, untouched by danger or greed. The final line trembled on her tongue. And know this, Noah. Whichever path you choose, it will define not the money, but the man you become. Noah felt his throat closing. His eyes burned. He gripped the edge of the table so tightly his knuckles went white. Ms. Graves folded the letter gently. We will not pressure you, but we must ask, do you want to proceed to view the balance? Before Noah could breathe in an answer, the door slammed open with such force the walls nearly shook. Don't let him see it! A man's voice yelled. All 3 adults jumped. Noah spun around. The man stood at the doorway, chest heaving, face flushed, hair disheveled. He looked exhausted, terrified, and out of place in a room built for the wealthy. It took 3 seconds for Noah's body to freeze. Emily Carter, Noah's mother, burst into the room right behind the man, tears streaking her face. Noah, sweetheart, I'm here. I'm here. But Noah barely heard her. Because his eyes were locked on the stranger whose breath shook like he'd run through the entire city. Noah, the man whispered, voice breaking. Don't look at that screen. Please, not yet. Noah's head felt light. He gripped the chair for balance. How do you know my name? The man closed his eyes, a tear slipping free. Because I'm your father. The world fell out from under Noah's feet. Emily gasped a raw, painful sob. Mr. Harrison froze mid-step. Ms. Graves dropped the pen she held. Even Mr. Whitaker's mouth fell open. Mark Carter stepped forward slowly, his voice shaking as if every word cut through his throat. I never left you, Noah. I didn't abandon you. I disappeared because they threatened me. They threatened you. I ran because it was the only way to keep you alive. Noah felt his entire chest quiver. The air in his lungs turned cold. He tried to speak, but only a whisper escaped. Why didn't you come back? Mark looked at him as though the question ripped something inside him. I tried. God knows I tried. But every place I went, they watched. Every time I got close, someone followed. I didn't come back because coming back meant endangering you. Your grandfather made me swear to stay hidden. Emily wiped her tears, her voice trembling. Mark, he deserved to know. I know, Mark whispered, eyes breaking. But I didn't know if the people hunting us were still out there. And you know why they wanted us? Mr. Harrison lowered his voice. The account. Mark nodded. The money, Mark said, isn't just money. It's tied to men who don't accept losing, men who think power belongs to them. Your grandfather stole their power by giving everything to Noah. Noah's heart pounded. So if I see the balance, you become a target again, Mark finished. A cold silence spread through the room. The screen in front of them still displayed a loading bar, frozen halfway, like a monster behind glass. Noah stared at the glowing screen, at the letter, at the key, at the father he thought was dead, at the mother who'd cried more than any child should ever see. He felt something shift inside him. A spark of truth, a spark of courage. "I don't want to run," Noah whispered. "I want to know the truth." "Noah," Mark choked out. "You don't have to choose today." "But I do," Noah said, his voice stronger. "Because Grandpa trusted me, and I trust him." The room held its breath. Noah looked up, tears on his cheeks, but determination in his eyes. "I want to hear everything. No more secrets." Mark swallowed. "Then it's time." He pulled out a chair, sat across from his son, and prepared to reveal a decade of truth. And just when he opened his mouth to speak, Ms. Graves' phone vibrated. She checked the screen and her face turned a terrifying shade of white. She whispered 4 words that made every adult in the room stiffen. "They know he's here." Noah's pulse hammered in his ears. The door behind him suddenly didn't feel thick enough. And the monster behind the loading bar wasn't the only threat anymore. Before anything else could happen, Miss Graves closed her phone and looked up. "We have to decide what to do next." She wasn't talking to the adults. She was looking directly at Noah, because somehow, impossibly, he was the one who had to choose. And his choice would shape everything that came after. "Tell me something. If you were in Noah's place right now, would you want to keep going deeper into the truth? Or would you feel an urge to run?" The room felt smaller after Miss Graves whispered those 4 words. "They know he's here." Noah didn't fully understand who they were, but he felt the adults tense around him as if danger had just stepped through the cracks in the walls. Mark moved closer, his hand hovering protectively near his son's shoulder, but he didn't touch him. He seemed afraid Noah might pull away. Emily's breathing trembled. "Linda, what does that mean?" "Who knows?" Graves didn't sugarcoat anything. "People who have waited 10 years for this account to become active again. And they won't want Noah to be the one controlling it." Noah's pulse throbbed in his ears. He looked at the glowing loading bar on the screen, frozen at the halfway point. It reminded him of a door half open to a place that couldn't be closed again. "What do they want from me?" Noah asked, voice faint. Mark answered before anyone else could. "They want what your grandfather protected. They want power, influence. They don't see you as a kid, Noah. They see you as a threat." Emily squeezed Noah's hand. "But you're not alone. Not anymore." For a moment, Noah felt all 3 adults watching him, waiting for him to collapse, to break, to let them decide for him. But something inside him had shifted all day. Maybe it was the way the bankers changed their tone the moment they saw the truth. Maybe it was the memory of his grandfather's voice in that letter. Or maybe it was the fact that his father, whom he believed dead for years, looked completely alive and terrified for him. Whatever it was, it made Noah sit straighter in his seat. "I want to see the balance," he said. The room snapped into stillness. Mark shook his head. "Noah, you're just a kid. You don't have to." "No," Noah interrupted softly but firmly. "I came because Grandpa told me to. And I'm not walking away without knowing what he was protecting." He looked at each of them, his father's regretful eyes, his mother's teary ones, Ms. Graves' steady gaze. "And I'm not afraid anymore." The adults exchanged a look, fear, pride, disbelief, all tangled together. Graves placed her hand on the keyboard. "If Noah wants to see it, we move forward. Mark, Emily, the final decision belongs to him." Mark closed his eyes, exhaling shakily. "Then let me stand beside him." Emily nodded. "Me too." The room repositioned. The 3 adults stood around the monitor, forming a protective triangle around the small boy in the chair. Noah placed his hand on the mouse. His fingers trembled, but he didn't pull back. "Are you ready?" Miss Graves asked. "Yes." Noah's voice didn't shake. He clicked. The frozen bar moved slowly at first, then faster. Files flew across the screen: documents, deeds, fund transfers, international accounts, asset lists, investment portfolios, legal protections, Numbers bigger than anything Noah had ever studied in school flashed by too quickly to process. Then the final screen loaded. Total protected consolidated assets, $482 million. Noah inhaled so sharply it hurt. Emily covered her mouth. Mark staggered back a step, pressing his hand to the wall for balance. Even the banker, Mr. Whitaker, whispered something like a prayer. Nearly $500 million, and it belonged to a 10-year-old boy in thrift store sneakers. No one spoke for several long seconds. The number glowed on the screen like it was alive, breathing, pulsing. It wasn't money. It was an earthquake. Ms. Graves lowered her voice. No wonder they're coming. Mark knelt beside his son. Noah, this changes everything. Everything. Noah swallowed hard, the number burning into his mind. But what surprised him wasn't the huge amount. It was the strange calm inside him. Instead of panicking, he remembered his grandfather's words. Money tells a story. Your heart decides how it ends. What do I do now? He asked quietly. Miss Graves stepped closer. You choose. The options your grandfather gave you are still valid. Noah looked at the adults who had shaped his life. His mother who carried fear alone. His father who hid in shadows for years. The attorney who protected secrets. The bankers who shifted from mockery to respect. But mostly he thought of the girl in the park he saw earlier, the one with the torn notebook, the one nobody noticed. He straightened. I choose the second option, he said. Emily leaned in. Are you sure, sweetheart? Yes. I want the money protected until I'm 21. I don't want to be famous or chased or used. I want time to grow without looking over my shoulder. Mark bowed his head in relief. Ms. Graves smiled softly. A wise choice. But Noah said, lifting his chin, I want something else. Everyone looked at him. I want part of the money to be used now. Not for me. For kids who don't have chances. Kids who think they were born to lose. Emily gasped softly. Mark covered his mouth. Mr. Whitaker blinked fast, disbelief softening into admiration. I want to help them, Noah continued. Grandpa always said a heart that helps is worth more than a hand that takes. So I want to start helping today. Miss Graves' eyes glistened. And how much would you like to donate? Enough to change many lives, Noah said, but not enough to change mine. Silence fell again, but a different silence. A hopeful one, a proud one. Mr. Harrison put a hand over his heart. When you turn 21, young man, this city is going to know your name for the right reasons. Miss Graves cleared her throat. I will help you establish a foundation in your grandfather's honor, a legal, protected entity. Noah nodded. Call it the Carter Foundation, for kids who deserve tomorrow. Mark hugged his son for the first time in years, a hug that held regret, love, and a second chance. Emily joined them, and for the first time the three of them stood together as a family, not broken pieces. Outside the room the bank had gone quiet. No laughter, no arrogance, only respect. When they walked out together, people stepped aside. Mr. Whitaker himself held the door. Noah didn't feel like a millionaire. He felt like someone who had finally learned who he was supposed to be. That night, as the family stepped into the cool Chicago air, Noah whispered to the sky, I did it, Grandpa. I'll make you proud. And somewhere inside him, he felt as if Robert Carter whispered back, You already have. As they walked to their car, Noah took his mother's hand. Mom? Yes, sweetheart. I want to help one kid tomorrow. Just one. And then another, and then another. Emily smiled, tears fresh on her cheeks. Then that's exactly what we'll do. And that was how Noah Carter's story didn't end with a fortune. It began with a mission. Now, let me ask you something. If this story touched your heart, would you show your support by commenting the number 100? I'd love to know from which country you're watching this story. And if you feel moved, please share this video so more people can hear Noah's story.